Hello, and welcome to the Equus Film and Arts Fest podcast, the only program for horse lovers who have a fondness for horses in film, art, and literature. Each week, we will have interesting conversations with equestrian filmmakers, artists, and authors from around the world, discussing the nature and challenges as well as the triumphs of creating their work. Ready to talk horses and film and the arts? Here's your host, Julianne Neal, along with Lisa Dearson, festival founder and director.
Welcome back for the second half of our kickoff for Season 2. In this half of the episode, you'll hear from Sandra Beaulieu, longtime member of the Equus herd.
Okay, we're really excited to have this new entry in the Equus Film Festival Literary Corral, Sandra's new freestyle book. Yay! It's beautiful. And of course, Mario's in a little bit. But yeah, I'm so proud of Sandra. Progress Square has published her book, and it's like, oh my gosh, we knew her when she was part flag with us. So that's a very fun book to have entered this year.
I just was looking back through pictures and she was there in costume and I saw the artwork and her trailer for the film and just all kinds of stuff with her, and then Mario and Jill and Bruce and everybody pretty much, even though we weren't able to do the regular.
Right. That was another strange week because that we had to deal with the hurricane and with the pyroplasmosis with the horses. So they canceled all of the horses coming in, and Sandra and Mario and all stepped up to the plate and did presentations. They were such a professional group of horsemen to keep the people who did come there engaged, even though they didn't get a chance to see their horses and see what they really could do. So
exactly, yeah.
That was, to me, was the consummate horse professional, always learning how to just roll with the punches.
And to make the most of it for the people who were attending. So we know ahead of time now we're doing a lot of virtual stuff, but at that point we didn't know until that day or that weekend what was going to happen. So
exactly.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun, but I'm looking forward to speaking with her, and I know you're going to enjoy hearing what all she has to say.
Well, and who would have known then where we would be 2 years later?
That's exactly
because there was nothing that we could do at the horses there, and just like now, there's nothing that we can do to get the people here.
Right,
it's just the way it has to be. So we've got to punt and learn how to do it as best we can.
Well, I think it's going to be a fun season too. I'm looking forward to catching up with some of the folks that we've known from before, but learning more about some of the new folks coming into the Equus herd too. So I'm glad to kick it off with a good one.
Yep. We've got a lot of great people coming in this year. Pony on.
This episode of the Equus Film and Arts Fest podcast is sponsored in part by Nature's View, the Marley Project, and JA Media Productions. To learn more about what we do, visit naturesview.us. Our first guest on the podcast today is actually a dressage clinician, freestyle designer, unbelievable performer, and equine artist. I'm so pleased. And actually, I missed this one, the head trainer at Little River Friesians. I'm so pleased to be speaking with Sandra Beaulieu this morning. How are you, Sandra? Welcome to the podcast.
Good. Thank you for having me.
Good.
It's going to be fun.
It's funny in this pandemic era and this time of everything going on, people think, oh, well, we're not going to be quite as busy, but it seems like we're busier than ever. So thanks for taking your time out. Is 9 o'clock normally your riding time, and you're missing that today or not?
Yeah, usually it's, and we're here in Florida, so definitely morning is best time to ride, and then the afternoons is when we do all of our breeding and bathing and office stuff. Being here at a Friesian farm, there's lots of spa days.
Oh gosh, I can imagine keeping everything all shiny and clean.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited to see. I noticed on the Equitana website that you have a presentation, a demonstration coming up. So, are you getting ready for that? You preparing? I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, well, we were going to go to Kentucky to perform. I was going to take my horse Rizondio, and I do like art on horseback. So I ride him by the canvas and do dressage movements and things like that, like to create, kind of an abstract horse painting. But, everything got canceled. So they put it online. So I'm working on a video. One of my friends is putting together kind of a compilation of other performances I've done to kind of show the process. So I think that'll be fairly interesting, more fun.
Sure.
At least to have something. And then I sent a couple of my limited edition art prints to them. So they're going to use that for giveaways.
Oh,
so
great.
it should be fun. I think they might be doing a Q&A, but I haven't gotten confirmation yet. So,
Right.
and I'm not exactly sure the day and time yet, but hopefully that we'll know all that soon.
Definitely. Well, it's funny. I feel like we've all gotten so into Zoom. We're used to it now. It's kind of part of the vocabulary. So, with all these virtual demonstrations and conversations and everything, I'm still learning so much. It's not like being there in person for sure, but still able to learn a lot. So
yeah, definitely.
Well, it reminds me, actually, the first time I ever met you, not exactly the same situation, but similar problems or whatever. Yeah, I remember vividly walking into the Equus Film and Arts Fest tent at the World Equestrian Games in Tryon, and I thought, who is this beautiful lady? You had your costume on, you had your art, and I was like, I love art, I love horses, I love all of freestyle and everything. So I thought, this girl she's got it going on. So that was one of those times that the storm was like pending and we're all trying to figure out what to do, and everything got shifted around, and you and Mario Contreras of Medieval Times and Jill and my partner Bruce Anderson, y'all were out there still in costume, still doing your thing, and able to make the most of it. So that was an exciting time to get to know you.
Yeah, we did our best, and I remember it was just such a process, and we kind of found out last minute we were going anyway, like a month before, and so I was in Maine and had to do a lot of stuff to get my two horses ready to go, and then I usually go to Florida in the winter, so I was like moved my travel time up a couple months, so that was like a little stressful, and then we got there and it didn't kind of happen, and so we went on to Florida, and I was like, it was at the beginning, and the World Equestrian Games was going like another week and a half. So I was like, I should just go back, And so I went back by myself. I left the horse, at the place at Marsha's place, and it was great. It was just nice to just meet everybody and network and just kind of have fun and try to just make the best of a not a great situation. And this is sort of a similar thing. Yeah. You just got to do the best you can.
Right. Well, every morning I would look, Diana DeRosa was doing up the schedule for the Coca-Cola stage, and I would see who was going to be down there talking. And, Yvonne Bartow had some dancers and normally would have been on horseback, but they still came in costume and did their thing. And like I said, you and Bruce and Mario and all of them, it was just fun. It's still, I think the thing is for people to see the performance side of it. You're obviously really well versed in that performance aspect, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely my passion is the performance of the horses. I was training in really competitive, like serious dressage for a really long time, and I had very serious goals, very type A, but I was always very artistic as well. But I never really blended them together. And then the barn I was at, they had an equestrian theater, which was the brain operation of my previous coach, Carol Rose, and she did it for her students to have fun and show off their dressage skills, and that kind of grew every year. And that was how I learned how to do quadrilles and choreography and perform to music and it was like running a theater show. You literally jump off, change costumes, jump on another horse, change costumes, jump on, for 2 hours. And this was before Facebook. And we didn't have anything online. We didn't do YouTube videos, but we always had a packed house. It's so entertaining, so much fun. So that's where I was so passionate about it, but, still very serious. And then when I lost a couple horses, my trainer's horses, they had died tragically, and I kind of quit, was just too much, and I stopped doing competing and just didn't have any desire to do that anymore. But I kind of was hung on to the creative aspect. So, and then I found that same time, I found my FREESTYLE, and we kind of started a whole different journey together. And Rovandio, the one I ride with the art on horseback, he was my mother-in-law's horse, and I rode him for her, and he's just such a sweet personality. I've known him since he was a baby. So he always was just so easy and fun to ride. And I was like, "Hi, can I paint on horseback? I'll try it." He's like, "Okay." So it's just, definitely an experience. So
you have so much experience, you know the technical side of it. As you said, you've done the serious stuff. So I mean, you're an USDF bronze and silver medalist, the FREESTYLE bronze bar from USDF, and an L graduate with distinction. I mean, these are all really, it just shows that you know the background behind where this came from, and you know the technical side of how it's really supposed to be. So it's not just a performance. It's serious. Right. And so I find those performances so intriguing to watch. And you mentioned your horse, Dow. Well, what a special guy. I mean, as you said, you found him after a difficult year, and sometimes those bonds are the ones that become the strongest. I've really enjoyed watching the videos and things. I've never seen you perform in person. And so as I was going through and watching Beauty and the Beast, and I think my favorite's Outlander, the Outlander thing, I love the show anyway. So when you hear that intro music coming in,
but music's amazing.
It's so wonderful. And I mean, it's so appropriate for him with your costume and just his whole demeanor and everything. So, what a special bond.
He's a very unique horse. He was basically a kind of bucking bolter, like difficult, like no one wanted him kind of thing. But I'd always wanted to freeze him. It's that dream of like, I had never ridden a Friesian or even worked with one until, I found him, and he became, and I was able, he's the only horse I've ever really owned myself, so he's very special to me. And it took so long, many, many years before he really started to show trust and his personality. He just was so hard to read, and not a happy horse, and he was very stoic and held all the pain inside. And so I learned so much from him, and here's my soul horse. I mean, for people who are listening, definitely he passed this summer, so it's very sad, and I'll probably start crying, but
that's all right.
I think it's very important for people to what I want to keep doing with his work is inspire people to, keep their horse and work with them all the way to the end. I couldn't ride him much anymore at the end because he had really bad ring bone and he had a cyst in his foot, so he's very lame. But walking, he was fine. I could work him on trail rides, and I could walk him doing trick training and stuff, and he was comfortable in the paddock. He was quite lame trotting, and he was a pretty lazy guy, so he didn't really care just walking around anyway. So I taught him how to paint, and he's so smart. I mean, I was teaching him new things all the way to the end, crazy. I was he's just, he'd be free in the ring, and he'd stand there and paint with me. He just wanted to do it, and I was just getting him to the point where he could pick up the brush and do it himself a little bit. And then, because my goal was for us to paint together, I would paint and he would paint, at the same time. We kind of did that in our last, we finished one really large painting that's so special because I have it in my room, and, I get to see it every day, which is very sad, but it's a very special too that we, we were able to create something really special even after I wasn't able to really perform him anymore. So I just think that horses have so much more to give past that point of, I would have never sold him anyway, or I'm never going to sell my other horse, Rovandio, either. But it is challenging when they get older because, you still want that connection, and you can't do the connection the same way you did. You have to be really creative. And I know a lot of people say they wouldn't want to do tricks with their horse or groundwork or liberty training, but there's something so magical and spiritual about that bond that you can grow as a person too. So it's just so, my whole journey with him, about 12 years, and I was a whole experience. It's just amazing. So I'm a different person because of him, and look at different horses in a different way. And it's just pretty amazing. You know, I always think probably everybody has that one special horse. Like, I don't know if I'll find the same kind of thing again, but I'm so grateful that I had him for as long as I did, and that we had that full experience, you know.
Sure. Well, and I could tell on social media the outpouring of affection when he did pass, and just everybody sending things. And I saw the memorial that you set up, and I mean, it's just, you could tell that he was beloved by more, by the general public too. But what a special bond for you, and probably that difficult horse thing when you do break through with them. There's just something extra, and adds to that personality and adds to your relationship. Is wiggling his lips and hugging and kissing and all the talking like Mr. Ed. I mean, all that's fun, but yeah, I mean, it's finding that way of still connecting with them and making them know that they're still important and have a job to do. So that's pretty
right.
special.
Right. Oh, he definitely demanded my time. Like, he was kind of angry when we first moved to this farm at Little River, because I used to have it just him and Rosie. I'd be at another barn, and I would go teach off property, and then they were there, and they were my only horses on the farm.
Oh.
I mean, like, there were other horses there, but they were the only ones I worked with. But now he would see me all day long walking back and forth with other horses.
Oh.
So he was pretty mad. Like, why are you with that horse? You know, and so I had to really spend a lot of time with him, so we knew that, like, he was still number one. Like, so,
Mr. Jealous.
He's just really was so funny. And but yeah, definitely when I first got him, he would just stand in the back of the stall, his head down, and he didn't care if I brushed him or did anything. He had his ears back all the time. He didn't want to be handled or touched, or it's like he just thought he was just going to be sold again, you know. Like, and it took a couple we had a few experiences, like a trailer accident we had one time, and I swear he got his leg caught up over the center bar, like he reared or something. He got back sucked down, you know, and his butt was stuck under. And I was like, oh my God, most normal horses would freak out and like break their leg or something like that. And he just kind of like sat there. He's kind of hanging everything, and he was just watching me like, are you going to do something about this? I'm waiting, you know. And he was just so smart, and waited. And then finally I was like, okay, Dad, I got to move a little bit. And then he just moved and kind of rolled out, and it was just, and then after that, it was like, oh, okay, you saved me. Okay, I got it, you know. And different experiences like that, where we'd go and do something and come back, and he was like, okay, you're not just sending me away, you know. It definitely was very obvious to me, which I'd never had that connection with another horse before, because most of the horses I'd known since they were foals, so they were not mishandled or having emotional baggage, you know. They're a little bit more simple, and you build a relationship, and it's wonderful, but there's something very different about a horse that you have to work so hard to build that connection with.
But how worthwhile in the end. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, the artwork that you do with them, I mean, I'm guessing that you did the same type of thing also with Rovi.
Well, with Dow, I did it as a trick on the ground, like where he paints, and Rovi, I've taught him how to do the same thing, but he didn't really kind of get into it as much as Dow. But I think it was like, I'm actually working on different brushes for him, because he's a little bit more, it's like you have to kind of figure out like what the horse wants to grip and how he wants to hold it. And so Rovi, I'm playing with it, but Rovi, because he's so much more comfortable to ride, I can ride him with one hand. I tried the art on horseback, but Dow, I could have never done the art on horseback. He's just too big, too bouncy. He didn't turn very fast, you know. He didn't do collected movements like a little piaffe or collected canter. I'd need an enormous canvas or a wall to do anything with him.
The whole short side of the arena would have to be the canvas, I guess. Oh. Well, and so you're doing some of this bitless also with Rovi, right?
Yeah, I rode both of them bitless for a really long time. Mostly because Rovi has an old injury to his face, so he's a hole through his sinus, and then it caused a problem with his tooth, and so he actually had sort of dental surgery this year and had a tooth removed, and he has a fake tooth, like a bridge in there. So he's doing really well, but he always and I ride him with the bit now as well, but I was trying to find what was the most comfortable for him. And he never was upset about the bit or anything, but he just licks a lot with his tongue. And I think now I've come to the conclusion it's nerve damage on the side of his face, because he only does it on the side where he lost the tooth. But he's happy, he's never unhappy about the bit, and he's very easy to ride. And so I can ride him bitless or with the bit, or noseband, no noseband. And he's just pretty easy. But I did ride in the bitless for a long time, and Dow liked it too. I rode him a lot bitless. And so I've kind of I always try new things and see what works and see what you like and what you don't like. And certain horses go better in different things. So it's kind of fun to experiment,
Mark your calendars, folks, for a very special film event. Brooke USA will be premiering Hope's Legacy, a movie by Douglas B. Maddox, starring Diane Cannon. The movie is the sequel to A Christmas Ranch, which aired on Hallmark. Dates for this event are Thursday, October 15th at 4 p.m. and Friday, October 16th until 11:59 p.m. Access to the pre-selected content provided by Brooke USA will start at 4 p.m. The movie premieres at 7. The premiere of Hope's Legacy serves as the kickoff of The Power of One, Brooke USA's latest campaign set to raise $1 million over the next 12 months. Ticket prices begin at $25 for general admission. This virtual event is provided through a designated sub-channel on the Equus Film Channel, solely for usage by Brooke USA.
Seeing too that you're really good at whatever you choose to do, because not only are all the medals and everything, but I mean, even with your art background, you were in AP art classes in high school, and you've been exposed to Chinese calligraphy. And so maybe that part of sort of, you're doing a pee off beside the canvas. Is that what led you into this sort of thing with the work that you do on horseback?
Yeah, I kind of felt like I had two parallels going on. I loved art, and I had my own little leisure business that I sold products on Etsy, and I used to do logos, and just kind of I like that simplicity that of capturing the movement of the horse with minimal lines. I'm not really a person that likes to do realistic art or sit for long periods of time. I want it to be more zen in the moment. So with the horse, it works pretty well because I kind of don't really know what's going to happen, and I don't really know where my brush strokes are going to land. If my horse is going to get too close, or he's going to be too far away, or I throw it and then my aim is wrong. I don't know, so it's just kind of an experience more, so it has to be in the right mode and the right mood, and it's a lot of work to get everything set up and and sometimes I think something's going to work and it doesn't work. And so, it's just something for me and Rosie to do together. I don't know if I'll do it with another horse, but it's just kind of something that we share, because he's not super talented for competition. So I got some of my medal scores on him with freestyle, because he's so good, but he's not real gifted in the gait department, and he's 19 now, so he's also got a lot of arthritis and different things he's working with. So I'm trying to maintain him. So I'm just it's just, I always try to have something special for each horse, because I feel like their personality, trying to bring that out. If you try to do the same thing with every horse, it's not really going to work, and you kind of block yourself off to something that could be really interesting and really magical if you just. I just one day was just sitting at the kitchen table and thought, I wonder if I could mix the art with the riding. And that was probably back in well over 10 years ago. It took a couple of years before I even tried it. I just thought about it for a couple of years, and then I was like, I should really try this. Let's see. And I have gone through different easels and different canvases and different ways to do it, and different costumes, and always trying to do different things. But, I'm not really sure how much longer I'll be able to do that with Roby, just physically for him. So I have started doing the painting on the ground because I think he's very, very smart too,
Mm-hmm.
to give him something to do. And he likes doing tricks and liberty, and he loves to perform. And Dal was always actually quite, he was a little bit nervous in front of big audiences.
Mm-hmm.
So he always had a little bit that, like, I was a little unsure if there was a weird noise from the speaker, or the crowd got a little too wild. Like, I wasn't sure if I could go bridleless or not. Whereas Roby, like, grew up with the theater. He loves it. He knows the audience clapping is great. So he doesn't have stage fright at all.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
he's not a big fancy Frisian. So, Dal always captured the crowd because they could sense that connection.
Majesty. Yeah.
It's just different. It's interesting to see how, it's like with people, how the personality comes out. And Dal always liked really little crowds, or like people coming to his stall and he'd do all of his tricks. And he knew people laughing was what he wanted. Because if I kind of yell at him a little, like, "Hey, Dal, what are you doing?" He just, he would just start wiggling his nose at me, and then of course I start laughing. So he was a little too smart for his own good. He got away with a lot.
That's awesome. Well, and we're at that time where, all these live exhibitions, you've done things for Equine Affair and symposiums and all that. And so the live exhibitions are hard to do right now. So it might be a good time for the smaller things. And, you've done some things that for nonprofits, for example, with your performances. And so maybe as we get back into some of that, you'll have those opportunities too. So, but in speaking of opportunities, with the Equus Film Festival, Ashley Mancuso had done a video for you, and I think that was what was showing at WEG. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes, that was, and Ashley's actually the one who's making a video right now of my art on horseback for Equitana. Yeah, and she also did the memorial video for me for Dow, and she's one of my really good friends. So we like to work on projects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell y'all had a great working relationship when I saw you interacting at WEG. So that is going to be great. I can't wait to see what she puts together for you.
Yeah.
Cool.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, and you have another new initiative going on, or finished actually. It's out there. The book, Freestyle, the Ultimate Guide to Riding, Training, and Competing to Music. So how long did it take? Were you putting together things over years and years?
Yeah, it was like, I had been doing ebooks that were pretty popular online, and there's definitely a need for information about freestyle, because when I would go search online, there was really no books, no current books.
Exactly.
There's only like a few from like the 80s, and I was like, there's no one talking about just basic software and like kind of ideas, or having like choreography ideas, and I'm more into like helping people with like pre-made choreography, because people get really stuck. Like I used to teach a lot, and when I would go to clinics, like everyone was like, "Oh, my dream is to ride a freestyle," whether it was competition or exhibition or just riding music with their horse. And they just absolutely would get so like a wall, like they would get so overwhelmed that they would never even try it, or even start. So I was like, if I could just make something to help that gap just a little bit. I design freestyles for people. I don't do it right now because I'm too busy, but I had learned like how to do it, and I love doing it. And so I know the basics. I'm not an Olympic freestyle designer, so I don't use the fancy equipment. So the nice thing is that I share what a normal person would use, and that was my point of that you don't have to be an expert at sound design or use the fancy equipment unless you want to hire someone to do that. That's fine, but you can get all the other stuff done. You can create your choreography. You can use your iPhone for your BPMs. They have apps for that. They have music you can find on Spotify, and there's just all of these things that a lot of people, a little bit the older, although amateur group that I mostly teach those women, and they're a little bit aren't as familiar with the tech stuff, so they just needed more help. And so I approacached Trafalgar publishers, and they were interested because there wasn't really anything on the market for freestyle. So I definitely, it was a lot of work.
Yes.
And my book is very big too. they said at the end that I had like over 100 more pages than expected, so I had to go up into a different category.
I love it. That's a good thing,
But,
though. That's better than having too few,
yeah.
you know.
It's definitely hefty, and it has choreography options for all levels. I went through 4th level, and also Western dressage through level 4. So it's like, it's just good for people who are starting, and I have a whole section on, you know, tips for riding with props and costumes and exhibition and sound and just, you know, just kind of just a little bit of everything. It's a lot of fun. Just kind of help you get through that process.
Well, I wish I had known you years ago. Somebody asked if I would put together a freestyle for them. So I thought, you know, how hard can it be? And so naively start putting music together and, you know, trying to find music that fits the horse and all that. And we got a beautiful soundtrack done for her. And then she rode the test and said, well, I need an extra 5 beats because I've got to do this in the corner. And then the transition was off. It wasn't happening at A anymore. And I mean, it's not as easy as you naively think to put it together anyway. Right. So having your expertise and having a resource like this would have been a huge help to me back then. So, well, and I'm assuming that you'll be submitting it for the film festival this year, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I already sent entry in the book, so that'll be in there. So it'll be fun. I kind of forgot they had a literary section, and I was like, oh
yeah,
isn't that great? Reminded me, and I was like, okay,
that's very
so hopefully,
cool.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I'm so excited. I've loved talking to you, and I know you got work to do. I think you told me when we first got on the call you're out near the arena or something, and so I'm sure you're itching to get to the horses. But thank you.
Yeah, that's okay.
Is there anything else you want everybody to know? I mean, we're definitely going to put show notes with your website and access to be able to buy the book. What's your next project? Yeah. I'll quickly ask. Do you have any young ones coming along? You're getting going, or what's your next thing?
Yeah, well, basically what I do at Little River Fusions, I'm the head trainer, and you know, developing the horses. They have a couple horses that are like so amazing for performing. So I'm really hoping at some point when we can get back to performing, is a Frisian gelding named Kofran S, and he's as goofy as my Frisian and loves learning things, and he's learned things so quickly. And there's some beautiful Andalusians as well, and some Orlanders, and we do a lot actually on Instagram and TikTok. Mm-hmm. Our TikTok following is like well over 90,000. It's crazy. What? And so we have so many funny videos on there, all behind the scenes with the horses, and we really, you know, have a lot of followers on Instagram. So and that's mostly what I'm doing is, you know, I manage the social media with the girls here at the barn and training the horses. And we have a few for sale, and then they breed them. So if you want to stay up to date with what I'm doing, you just go and follow the Little River Fusions Instagram and TikTok, because it's so much fun. Because, you know, that's what everyone is on right now because of the virus. So that, you know, if you want some horsey entertainment, I would say go do that.
That's got to be, I've got to start that. Yeah. I'm so entrenched in Facebook and Instagram, and now it's like TikTok. I got to learn it, got to figure it out. So, that'll be fun. Much fun. Yeah. Very good. Well, thank you so much for talking to me, Sandra. I look forward to seeing you, if not at Equitana this year and not at the film festival in November at the horse park. Hopefully by next year, we'll all be back in live, in-person things. And I can't wait to see you then and see what else you got going on. It'll be something wonderful, I know.
I'll keep working on it.
All right. Well, go ride. Have a great day. And
thank
I look forward to seeing you
too.
Soon.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'd like to take a few minutes from the podcast to tell you about a couple of things my horse Winston and I have been trying out. Fenwick Equestrian's liquid titanium products have a patent-pending technology, and this has resulted in the production of the first and only therapeutic mask, which can help your horse relax and focus naturally. Through some pretty extensive training, Fenwick discovered the use of this smart fabric, and it produced a natural calming effect on many horses. This works through something called negative ions, which are proven to make us feel better by providing you more energy and a positive mood. Think of how you feel when you're in the central heat or air in your office all day, every day, and you can't wait to get outside and breathe some fresh air. A horse living in a stall is pretty much like that. This smart fabric is especially formulated also to allow continuous washing and drying without diluting the qualities. The fabric functions equally as well on a wet horse as a dry horse, and there's no limit to the length of time you can leave a mask on. All of Fenwick's therapeutic headgear is approved for competition worldwide, and Fenwick is great about listening to customers. As a result of customer requests, they've added ears to the mask as well. You can go to their website, fenwickfarm.com, to check out their products, from liquid titanium to coolers, blankets, leg boots, saddle pads, and more. I know that Winston and I love our saddle pad. If you can't find products in a store near you, they always have online sales at fenwickfarm.com.
Please be sure to tune in next week when Julianne and I have another interesting conversation with one of our Equus Film and Arts Fest filmmakers, artists, or authors.